Today I'd like to do a product review on an awesome new piece of gear that's come out by Leatherman. It's the Leatherman Tread Bracelet Multi-Tool.
Let's get started.
The Leatherman Tread is like having a TSA-safe multi-tool wrapped around your wrist. And while you don't have all the same functionality that you see with the normal multi-tool, namely the pliers and the various blades, you do have a lot of the same functionality that you see with the popular Leatherman bit set, but wrapped around your wrist in a badass form factor. So basically all the tools are located in between the links that make up the Leatherman Tread, and they're all kind of curved in a little bit, so you're not going to have a problem of it snagging on your clothes or anything like that. To access the various tools, you kind of have to take off the Leatherman Tread and you kind of bend it in. So basically you're going to look for this little Leatherman logo that you see here. There's a little notch over here to open it up, so you just put your finger down there, it'll open it up. Here's the bottle opener, and then you have access to all the various tools that are included with this tool set. So opening it up here, we have a little hex key over here, so if you need to open up something here and you don't happen to have your normal hex key, you could use that. We're going to go into all these a little bit more detail later. We have a flathead screwdriver, we have a Phillips, a square, as I mentioned in the bottle opener, we have a 1/4-inch socket square. We also have a little cutter here that could cut paper as well as clothes, and also seat belts. Let's see, we have a glass punch. We also have a little, this is kind of a little pick that's used for those times that you might need to get into your SIM card that's located in your phone. You need to have a little very sharp, small, pointy object to get into there. You also have various wrenches and things like that. So it's made out of a 17/4 stainless steel, which is very hard, and it's also corrosion resistant. It weighs in kind of like a heavier watch at around 150 grams or 5.3 ounces. And because it's a Leatherman tool, it has the 25-year warranty. So this is the stainless steel version. If you don't like that, it also comes in black. And then if you don't like wearing, anything besides your normal watch on your wrist, like I do, it also comes in a watch version. So you have the Leatherman Tread as the band of the watch, and then you have a nice Swiss-made watch over here. So what we're going to do for this video is we're going to go through some demos of the various tools. We're going to talk about the pros and cons, and just do some various applications of the Leatherman Tread. The links of the tread have a very smooth finish to them on the visible portion when it's sitting on your wrist. When you flip it over though, you have labelings for all the tools that are included for each link. So if you happen to forget what particular tool you're looking for or the size, you could flip it over and see what the exact label is for that. So when you're looking at it in a loop form, you kind of have to angle it a little bit to see all the various labeling for each of the links. The links can be removed using a flathead screwdriver. The rest can be all done with your finger. The links for the screw holes fit over this little rod that you see here. So you can have to lift it up a little bit, and then you put the screws on. Here's what an individual link looks like when disassembled from the tread. So basically you're going to have 4 individual screws that's going to attach the link to the tread, and those screws are going to be strong enough to be able to handle the torque used when applying the tool. So this is a nice piece of metal that you see here, and if you, for example, if you don't want to have flathead screwdrivers, you could switch this out for whatever you want. So Leatherman has torque bits, for example. So you can kind of mix and match as you see fit for what you'd want to have on your Leatherman Tread. As you can see, each individual link has a little indentation right here in the middle. Some of them go all the way through and other ones stop at a certain point. Let's look at the stainless steel version really quick. So here's one that goes all the way through. I'm not really sure if it's designed for this, but I imagine so because it's an exact fit of the Leatherman bit set that you see here. So what you could do is just take one of those bits, slide it in here, and then in a pinch you could use that with the Leatherman Tread. When using a tool, you basically want to have the entire tread be the handle. So basically you're going to have whatever tool that you want to have selected, hold it kind of like that, and that's going to be used for the the torque and the twisting of it. It's a little clumsy, especially compared to a dedicated tool, but it definitely gets the job done too. So again, you just kind of select whatever tool that you want to have at the moment, and then hold the entire tread like that, and you have a good size handle like that. So let me do a quick rundown of all the tools that you have on this. I'm not going to go into all the specifics for the various sizes for all the flatheads, for example. I'll put that all in the description box below. But just a high-level overview. Basically, you have a cutting tool that you see here. This could be used for paper, for clothing, for seat belts. You have this little pick over here for SIM cards. Let's see, you have bottle opener. You have a Phillips screwdriver. You have various box wrenches on the body of each of the links that you see here. You have a lot of flathead screwdrivers here, and some hex screws that you see here. So the hex drives. Let's see, you have a couple little more hex drives. I'm going to keep going through this. Here's a little precision flathead screwdriver. So yeah, a lot of various tools. I think you have more flathead screwdrivers than you do Phillips. You definitely have a lot of box wrenches and different hex drives to it. Now let me show you some of the individual tools in action. Here's your precision flathead for small screws like on glasses. Many more larger flatheads. Various size box wrenches. You have the cutting tool, which is TSA safe because it's very hard to get a finger stuck in there. Various size hex drives. My personal favorite is the 1/4-inch socket drive, which not only closes it when it's on your wrist, but could also be used for those rare occasions that you don't have your ratcheting handle that you see here, and you could use it with 1/4-inch sockets. The small pick could be used for removing SIM cards from phones. You have your bottle opener. I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis. I'm at a junkyard. Let's break a window. Here we go. Nice. Let's cut a seatbelt while we're at it. Took a little bit of work. Now let's go over the pros and cons, starting off first with the pros. So again, these are just my personal thoughts. Your pros and cons may vary from mine. So the first pro that I have listed is that it is extremely cool looking. I mean, this thing is just gnarly. It's just really, really cool. Most people probably wouldn't even know that it was an actual tool, and when they would find out about it, they think it's even cooler. I think it's a great conversation piece. Everyone that's seen it on me has asked about it, and they're just kind of blown away that Leatherman made such a cool multi-tool like this. So it segues into a lot of gear discussions, which I think is a good thing. The next pro that I have listed is that I find that all the tools work fairly well on it, and they're all, all the bits and everything are up to standards on what you would expect from Leatherman. I mean, this is high quality metal. This isn't like a Stanley tool and bits that would degrade over time. This is meets up to the Leatherman standard that we all come to expect. I really like that it's TSA compliant. I think this would be very handy to breeze right through the airport. There's no knives or anything like that on here. TSA will probably want to check it out because it's so cool looking, but it is TSA compliant. I like that you could customize each of the links that are on here. So for example, if you want to have Torx links on here instead of maybe some flatheads, you could exchange that out, just order that from Leatherman. So it's just totally customizable to whatever your personal needs are. I really, really like this 1/4-inch little socket drive that you have. Where is it at? Here it is. I think that was really cool that not only is it you actually use that to open it up, it's going to attach on here, but you could also put some sockets there. So most likely you're going to have your ratchet with you if you happen to have your sockets, but in a pinch you could use it for that. I really like that it actually seems to support the standard Leatherman bits. I haven't seen that in any of the advertisements regarding the Tread, but it just kind of totally makes sense. So you can fit those in there and use those in a pinch if need be. And then the last little pro that I have here is if it could be used as a self-defense weapon, maybe as a form of kind of brass knuckles, only stainless steel. Now let's move on to the cons. So the first con listed is that this thing's pretty expensive. It costs between $150 and $200 depending on what version you get. So for that price you could get yourself a Leatherman Charge and probably a Juice for the same cost that it would be for a Leatherman Tread. So that's definitely something you have to think about. I kind of treat it that when you're getting this, it's kind of a novelty item, kind of like buying yourself a nice wristwatch. And sometimes you're willing to pay a little bit more for that. The main con that I have listed is there might be a little chink in the armor here. So let me explain. So I'm pretty comfortable with the screws here being used for pivot points with the torque, being able to handle that kind of a pressure for the minor jobs that you'd be doing with this. I'm a little bit worried with the part here that's connected to the bottle opener. As you can see here, I'm not sure if you can see it with the camera, but that's a hollow little rod that's in there, and that I'm worried that the bottle opener, that's going to be something that you're going to use semi-often, and you're going to put a good amount of pressure on there, and it's all going to be going on this little hollow rod there. I would like to see that be there you can see it's hollow. I'd like to see that be a solid piece there, so I have a lot more trust that it's not going to break over time. The next thing that I have listed for the con is that it's, it's a little clumsy to use. It's kind of awkward. I mean, I think that's kind of expected just because that's how it's designed. Next, I find that sometimes it's kind of hard to figure out where you need to open it at. So let me see if I can close it really quick. So sometimes when you have this on your wrist, I have a hard time determining where to actually open it at. It's not as easy as, with your wristwatch, for example. So, you kind of have to find this little indicator here that has the Leatherman symbol there, and that's going to be your point to open it. Sometimes that's hard to find, especially if it's at nighttime. Next, I find that the inside labeling is a little hard to read. I don't know if you can see here. Not only do you have to look at it at an angle like you do here, but I kind of wish that it maybe had some black ink in there, for example, because these are engraved. There is engraved in there. So I think if you put some black ink, it would probably help, but it may rub off over time with the sweat from your wrist, so maybe that's why they didn't do it. I just find that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to read, but most likely you're not going to be reading it anyway. And then the last con that I have listed is that I really like that it's customizable, but I kind of wish that you could kind of build your own off their website. So maybe have the starter just be the wristband connection here with some of the standard tools, and then you can kind of piece your own together. I think you kind of have to just get the stock version and then add on to it. So that's just something to think about. And that's all I have listed for the cons of the Leatherman Tread. Let's briefly talk about the watch version of the Leatherman Tread. So as you can see, the watch is fairly large in size. It's pretty beefy and a little bit bulky compared to what I'm used to for my standard watches. I know that some people like having, a bulky type watch. Other people might want to have one that's a little bit more streamlined. So with the watch, I don't have too much to say on it. There's not a lot to it. It says that it's designed in Portland. It's Swiss made, which is good. I trust Leatherman, highly trust Leatherman with their tools. I don't know much about Leatherman with their watches though, so I kind of wish that you could get the Tread, the Leatherman Tread, as just a watch band, and you could attach it to whatever watch that you want. So for example, if I wanted to attach it to this Movado watch, I just use the Tread band around here and do that. But I think the problem with that is that there's so many different attach points for various watches that kind of open up a can of worms. So maybe down the road that'd be something that they could do, maybe for like a G-Shock, or maybe it's kind of like top 5 watches. That'd be kind of a cool thing, because I think a lot of people would probably like having their G-Shock watch with the Leatherman Tread as a watch band. I think that'd be pretty cool. But for this first release of it, maybe that's not possible. And just overall, it's a little bit bulky, but it's definitely a good, good quality watch. I like that it glows at night and everything, and it seems to be Swiss made, which I trust the Swiss. So those are my comments regarding the Leatherman Tread watch version. In summary, I think the Leatherman Tread is awesome. I mean, just look at it. It has this utilitarian look to it. It's a very unique design. I haven't really seen anything like it before. It's completely functional. It's not going to be a replacement to a full-size Leatherman multi-tool by any means, but it's definitely going to turn a lot more heads than a multi-tool. I mean, I can see this being very popular with a lot of different people, not only people that like having their tools, their multi-tools, but also frequent flyers, as well as anyone having a motorcycle. I could see this being very popular with bikers. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a biker bracelet, and especially if they could do repair jobs to their motorcycles, that's one thing, and then it also just looks, pretty badass if you ask me. So I think Leatherman really knocked it out of the park on this one. So the Leatherman Tread available in the stainless steel, also in the black, as well as the watch version. Pretty sick. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video featuring the Leatherman Tread. Please feel free to leave any kind of comments below in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time.